Yeah.
Good evening. Sorry for the delay there, getting some stuff done and waiting on a board member. Welcome to, hold on hang on one second. We'll introduce you guys. Hang on one second. We want to call the reading of the district's vision to Mr. Tatum and the invocation as well.
The school district of Manatee County will be an exemplary, student-focused school system that develops lifelong learners to be globally competitive. And ladies and gentlemen, I have Pastor David Anderson today. He is from Faith Baptist Church in Sarasota, and he is going to do our invocation for us, if we'd please rise.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the United States of America, the state of Florida, and the school district of Manatee County. We thank you for all these men and women who are willing to serve in this leadership capacity to bless their community, for the parents and community members who are here tonight to express opinions and be informed. And we pray that this meeting will be efficient, that it will be full of cooperation, communication, and a sense of teamwork, knowing that all of this is for the benefit of the young people of Manatee County to get the best education they can. And may you bless this endeavor, for we ask that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, if the color guard will come on forward. They're escorted by Lieutenant Colonel Vega. Members are Cadet Christian Lopez, Cadet DeBrian Lopez, Cadet Leandro Guerrero, and Cadet Hugo Hernandez.
Forward, march. Colors, hope. Left, haste. Present, arms.
Join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Right, haste. Forward, march.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you to the Bayshore Color Guard and Pastor Anderson for the invocation. Moving to item number 6 on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. The chair has found good cause to amend the agenda to include all items listed under agenda amendments on the February 27, 2024 agenda, updated as currently as February 27, 2024, and posted to the district website, manateeschools.net. Just some of the agenda items, we found some typos and some things like that we need to clean up, and we did so before the meeting. So, board members, I'm looking for an approval motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and waiting for Granicus. Does everyone else see it up there to vote or no?
No, I do not.
There it is.
Yeah.
You go and cast your votes. Passes 4-0. Item number 7, approval of the minutes. Superintendent Weissong.
Good evening, Chair Choate, board members. I recommend approval of the minutes from the school board meeting and leasing corporation dated January 30th, 2024, and the school board workshop dated February 2nd, 2024.
So moved.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any thing on the agenda, or excuse me, the minutes need to be fixed? All right, let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the minutes. That passes 4-0. Student celebrations, favorite part of the meetings. Mr. Barber, floor is yours and your crews.
It is the favorite part.
We all saw the robot in the foyer, so.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Board Chair, board members, and Dr. Weissong. You can tell it's, it's a Career and Technical Education Month when you've got a robot in the hallway and a tractor outside. So, but it's a great representation of our school district, and our district has a tremendous history of excellence when it comes to career and technical education. So, to tell us a little bit more about it tonight is Dr. Paul Gansimer. He's the Director of Adult Career and Technical Education for the school district. So.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. Chairman Choate, school board members, superintendent, staff. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come tonight for recognition of our students and all the hard work that they do with our CTE. And so as we celebrate CTE month, we usually try to do it at the night meeting so the students can be here so we can clap for them and tell them how great they are, because that's why we're here in the first place. So what I'd like to do is just introduce the staff that we have working with adult career and technical education. So with me tonight, we have the Director of Manatee Technical College, Mr. Doug Wagner. We have Ms. Kelly Kennedy, Assistant Director for Career and Technical Education. And we have Ms. Christy Clark, Teacher on Special Assignment for Work-Based Learning. And we also have Ms. Erin Kerper Navarro. She's our Career Pathways Coordinator. Her son is at Palmetto playing baseball, and she wanted to make sure that she supported him playing baseball. So that's our staff with our Adult Career and Technical Education. We call it ACT. So with technical education, we have it at all levels, and it's based on 17 clusters. I'm not going to read those for you, but we do have courses that are in each of those clusters. There may be one cluster we don't have it, but we do have it at the technical college level, and that's law and public safety. So we do have that as well. So with all the courses that we have, it's about teaching, giving the students the skills that they need to be able to be ready for careers in post-secondary education, because a lot of them will go on into either technical college, state college, or university level. With that, our courses also offer industry certifications. Again, I'm not going to read it for you, but most of our courses do have the industry certifications that the students can earn and take those certifications with them when they go get their career. And those are certifications that the businesses expect the students to be able to perform to be work ready. Moving on, we also do articulation agreements with colleges. So as they get information at the high school, they can take some of that to MTC to where they don't have to do all the classes because they've learned it at the high school level, so they can articulate that credit to MTC. MTC has graduations where the students get information that information and that credit can be articulated to State College of Florida. So that's a savings of money as well as tuition. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first school today. Our first school today is Sugg Middle School. And Sugg Middle School, we have innovation with animatronics. Hopefully you saw the robot out in the hallway. And we have one of the students here tonight, so we'll go ahead and bring them up. Go ahead and stand up here. Right here. So we have our teacher is Mr. Dale Smith. Hopefully you can see him okay. I know I'm standing in front of him. Somebody said to him that they thought Dr. Gansimer was tall and stuff, and he goes, "What?" So we do that as a joke, so we've known each other for a while. But Mr. Smith is one of 3 teachers that had a chance to go to California to get a training on the animatronics from Gardner Holt. The Gardner Holt industry does animatronics at many different areas. Some of you might know, like Chuck E. Cheese's and stuff like that. Does a lot more than that, but that's not what the presentation is today. So we have 3 students that he wanted to present tonight. 2 of the students were caught in traffic. I don't know why we have so much traffic here in Manatee County, but that's okay. If they get here, we'll be fine with that. So, Mr. Smith, we want to thank you for being here today. So we have Nasir Bermudez. We also have Alejandro Jimenez Ruiz and Chanel Vergara. And our administrator supporting tonight is Ms. Paula Hart, who's the assistant principal at Sugg Middle School. So we want to say thank you to the students for all their hard work. This is one of 2 programs. The other program is over at Nolan Middle School. And it takes a lot to be able to program the robot, program the animatronics that goes with it. They have to do the lights, they have to do the sound, they have to do the video, they have to do the actual movement. So there's a lot with that. So we want to thank you for your hard work with the animatronics. And we want to thank Sugg for being here. Second program we want to introduce you tonight, we talk about business relationships. So each of our programs, we will always have an advisory committee that we work with, which are people from that industry. So tonight we want to highlight Paris Community High School Automotive Program. Some of you have had the chance, you might see yourself in the picture, to go out for a presentation of a check with the automotive program. But there's a lot more that goes into it. So one of the things that I want to say is, when you start an automotive program, you have to finish 4 years before you can apply for accreditation with ASE. So ASE is their accreditors that say that the program is accredited. Not only that, but the teacher has to be accredited as well. So our teacher tonight, we have Mr. Sherman Ballard. So Mr. Ballard's here tonight, and he is ASE accredited. He's probably a master mechanic and all that other great stuff. Something about NASCAR in there too. But again, that's not tonight. That's probably for another presentation. But what we want to do is to be able to present him with this plaque that I'll kind of show you. So this is the plaque that ASE has said that this program is an accredited ASE program, that the students who now graduate from here can go into the industry. They still have to earn the industry certification, but they had to be with an accredited program. So let me present this to Mr. Ballard. So tonight we have some students that will be here. Some couldn't make it. Something about traffic again. I don't know what it was, but we'll kind of work on that. So what we want to say is we want to thank Harrison Cheryl to be here tonight. So Harrison is here tonight, so thank you, Harrison. And Jesus Guerrero was on the way to be here, so we'll tell him that he did a great job when he shows up. But the reason why we want to highlight these students is they've earned the certifications. They're doing so well at school that our businesses are actually hiring them while they're still in high school. So Harrison has a job with Gettle Automotive, and we do have a representative here tonight. So I'll ask Mr. Kelly to go ahead and stand from Gettle. You might recognize him in the picture as well. He was also part of the presentation that Gettle does to the program. I think this is the second year where they've presented $25,000 per year. And we said we're so excited. If he wants to double it for next year, we'd be more than willing to accept that. So thank you, Mr. Kelly, for being here tonight. We also have a student who is employed with Feld Entertainment with the Monster Jam, the monster trucks, to be able to do that. We have a representative here tonight with Feld Entertainment. That's Mr. Edward Crawford. Thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Crawford.
Did he bring a monster truck with him?
He was going to park it next to the tractor, but we had some issues with parking and things like that. So maybe we could do the monster truck next time. So. But we wanted to say that this is just one of the ones that we highlight. We have our administrators that are here to support them tonight. So we have Principal Mr. Daniel Bradshaw. I guess we're not going to clap.
Oh, we're going to wait. I was going to wait for everybody. But
And we have Assistant Principal Miss Melissa Gagnon here tonight also. So we just wanted to highlight this program. Not that the other programs shouldn't be highlighted, but Mr. Ballard's worked really hard for the 4 years to really make sure that we did what we're supposed to. One of the things that we do is we apply for something called a Perkins Grant, and in that Perkins Grant, we have to submit that paperwork that he has to say that it's an accredited program for us to be able to get funding to support the program. So Mr. Ballard and Paris Community High School, thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Another part of adult and career education is our career and technical student organizations. I've done presentations on it before, so I won't go too long, but we do have different organizations in our schools where the students can be able to have leadership. So we have DECA, FBLA, FCCLA, FFA, HOSA, Skills USA, and TSA. So those are the ones that we have in our schools where the students can participate. They get a lot of job skills out of it. We do work-based learning based on that as well. They do get to travel. They compete at district level, at state level, and at national level. So we just finished state at TSA in Orlando. And with that, we have some state officers that are here with you tonight. These are the outgoing state officers, so they finished their term in August, and then new officers will come in starting in late August or September, however that works. So tonight we have Kirsten Hecht. She's the state president, and this is her third year that she's been doing it. She's from Palmetto High School, and she's also served as the reporter and secretary in previous years. So we appreciate Kirsten being here tonight. If you can't tell, she's the one that has a different color hair than everyone else. So, and that's kind of her staple. She's done that for many years. So we got to be individuals and make it work. We also have Nicholas Savarino. He's the state secretary from Southeast High School, and he served for 1 year this year. So thanks for being here with us. And we also have Mason Engelsberg he's the state sergeant at arms from Lakewood High School and Lakewood Ranch High School, and he served for this 1 year also. So I do have some pictures from TSA State. We just got back from there. At TSA, it's the whole state. There were 65 schools that participated. 15 of them were from us, so we were a high percentage because we have a very strong showing with TSA. Over 2,000 students were there to compete. And out of all those schools, the two high schools that we have here in Manatee County that scored very high, there's about 40 events that they can compete in, and each time you compete, you get a certain amount of points. So with that accumulation of points, Braden River High School was scored as the highest first place high school for this year for TSA. So let's hear for Braden River High School. And our second school is Southeast High School. They had the second highest accumulation of points for the state of Florida as well. So let's hear for Southeast High School. So with that, you can see we have state leaders, and if you saw that front page, I think there was only 7 on there, and we have 3 of the 7. It's an opportunity for them to learn how to public speak, probably better than me, and they get a chance to work with other people in the schools to be able to show what they need to, and they're very active at the state level, helping run the different programs, making sure the events are happening on, and they're the ones who really help run the award ceremony. So if you ever get a chance to see it, I think there's a live feed that's recorded. And then we can pass that on to you later if you want to watch that. I think it was only 2.5 hours long this year, something about like that. So I keep looking at Kirsten because she was the one that's supposed to make it go quicker. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So we want to thank our state officers for all their service. Again, they serve until August, and we want to thank them for being here tonight. So thank you. Supporting one of our state officers, we have one of our teachers, Brian Kinzer. So I want to thank Brian for coming out today. And he's from Palmetto High School. Also out in the audience, we have Ginger Collins from Southeast High School and Monica DeLesline from Palmetto High School. And we want to thank the principals for supporting as well. Next up, we have Dr. Mona Jane, Middle School. We'll have them come up. Where's the hardware? All right, show everyone out there, too. Let's give a round of applause for that. We don't know what it's for, but we're clapping because it's big and shiny. So one of the things that we do in our district is we have something called a VEX competition that happens at the Bradenton Area Convention Center. And we have over, oh my goodness, I think we had close to 200 competing units, and that's elementary school and middle school. So the elementary school, they compete on their own, and the middle schools compete on their own. So out of all the middle schools and all the groups that competed, Dr. Mona Jane Middle School won first place, and this is their first place trophy. So we want to congratulate them. So tonight we have students. We have Jose Becerra Leon. We have Jackson Carver, Jackson Humnick, and Carl Santos. And again, not all of them are here. Something about traffic again. So I apologize for that. So students, we're very proud of you and all the hard work that you do. And we want to wish you the well as you continue to do career and technical education. You're not done. Don't leave yet. I also want to give a point to our teacher who's here tonight. So Ms. Kimberly Brown. So thank you, Ms. Brown. And of course, we have principal supporting, so Ms. Kate Barlog. So thank you, Kate, for being here. So with the VEX competition, they're learning about robotics, which deals with coding, it deals with teamwork, it deals with how to manipulate the robot and all that too. Each year, it's a different competition. They go head to head, but it's not like the robot wars where they attack each other. They're doing a task together to be able to accumulate points. So they do a really great job with it. We had a lot of students there. I think we had over 600 students competing. It was a great thing to see. I've been requested to make sure we don't have it during a school board meeting, so we'll do the best that we can. So thank you, Dr. Monjane, for doing a great job tonight. So we're going to... So with Manatee County, our CTE students are receiving an impactful education that it provides the foundational skills that are relevant to our real world. With that, we don't only do elementary, middle school, and high school, but we also have CTE at the technical college level. So as you know, MTC has over 50 programs to be able to support our community as well as the state of Florida with skilled, trained workers. So many of the programs can be compared to, can be completed within a year or less, and it focuses on training the students for a better job and providing businesses for our industry with skilled professional workforce. One of the things that we like to say is our programs that we get, most of them, nursing, you can't really count it, automotive, some of them you can, most of them are under a year long. So we always say get a career in a year, and then we always have Pell Grants and different funding sources, so they don't really have to have student loans. So we say get a career in a year with no student loans. So with that, I wanted to thank you for your support of CTE and for celebrating CTE month, and we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight.
Wonderful. Well, yeah.
Look at the one in the middle. Is that-
Everybody got it? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Thank you. I don't want to stand beside you. I think I did stand beside you out of the competition, yeah. And I'm like, oh my
I
God.
still haven't gotten out to see the school in daylight, so,
Mr. Bauer.
Thank you all.
I'll wait till
You watching that? Matt?
Yeah.
Oh my
Very
God.
good.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Congratulations. Good seeing you.
I'm still not quite as
Oh yeah.
We're so appreciated. Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. My God.
That's right. Probably on his tiptoes.
I have two of these.
Good stuff. I want to thank Dr. Gamsby and Mr. Wagner, of course, for all your years of support with the career and technical education. And I know from a board standpoint, it was one of our priorities in the legislative session. And as that's ending here, we'll see what we can get to help support and get even more CTE going here in Manatee County. And I love it. Good stuff. Brings us to public comment. This evening, we've got two signed up. I've got Margaret Newsom, followed by Marie Masfer. So Margaret Newsom, come on up.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Meg, short for Margaret Newsom, and I was a teacher in Manatee County for 38 years. My kids went to school in Manatee County's public schools, K through 12, got an excellent education. And I want to talk about the book that probably influenced me the most as a kid. It's A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. It had just been published when I ran across it on the 4th grade library shelf. My librarian had probably put it out as a new book display. I was interested in it because of the unusual cover. In the early 60s, I didn't see books that looked like that. But what made me pick it up and check it out to read was the fact that the main character had my name, Meg, short for Margaret. My name. I didn't know any other Megs. There were none in my school. I hadn't read Little Women yet, so I didn't know there were other Megs in the world. This book challenged me with its blend of science fiction and adventure and a subtle faith-based worldview of the universe. I have been an avid science fiction reader ever since. Now, I was a white, middle-class, suburban kid, so there was no shortage of books about people like me. I was captured by a character with my name. I can only imagine how excited more marginalized kids must feel when they find a book reflecting their own reality. One of the reasons I am most concerned about the current avalanche of book challenges is that they all seem to be coming from people like myself, eliminating choices for students who are not like me in many ways. Students who find it difficult to relate to characters and situations that are unlike their own experiences. I believe with all my heart that it is essential to a child's development to read widely, to think about worlds unlike their own, and to find a book occasionally dealing directly with issues they themselves face. When I spoke here the last time, I supported the change in book challenge policy, but also wanted the policy to go further. I think at least 2 board members indicated that the policy would be revisited in the near future. I strongly support giving parents at each school direct input before any book is removed from the shelf. It is outrageous to me that one individual can challenge a book and that just one person, even if it's the principal, can remove it, and that no number of parents or teachers can challenge that decision if the principal doesn't choose to ask them. Parents need to have a voice. I support a committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stafford?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here we are again. I wanted to thank each and every one of you who responded to my emails that I've sent in the last 2 weeks. I'm here tonight. I wanted to call out the name Next Benedict. If you're not familiar with that name, I encourage you to do a Google search for that name. And Meg is my mentor. She was tried and true here in Manatee County when I started as a librarian. In the last 2 weeks, I found the librarians were very encouraged by the policy of having the option for a committee in the book challenges. However, I was shocked that they were told, we will not have a committee, it will not operate in the sunshine, and that's why I'm here again. So I'm not going to talk about statute. You know that we're not meeting the law if we're not operating in the sunshine. I'm not talking about parents' rights because we're eliminating books by LGBTQ characters like drama, which that is a violation of civil rights even on the federal level. And I'm not here to defend sexually explicit books as some claim is my intent. I'm here to defend children's lives like Next. Would they be alive today if the girls in that bathroom had read books with gay characters? Would they be alive if their teachers had taught empathy, equality, and compassion for all of God's children along with math and science? We'll never know because Next is gone. But what I do know is 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 20 boys under the age of 18 in the United States will experience sexual assault. Girls ages 16 and 19 are 4 times more likely to be victims of rape or assault. And books like Blankets, Beloved, and Out of Darkness could save a child who thinks incest is normal, and I have met them, or they believe they are alone in their experience with assault. Since you don't post the reasons for removal, I can only assume your issue with the Freedom Writer's Diary is it might teach a teen their civil rights and how to express the need for change. Yes, we're dangerous when we have knowledge, aren't we? My mom always said if you have something to hide, you already know it's wrong. So why are our librarians being threatened when they want to operate in the sunshine and have review committees with parents and community members as the policy was adopted just last month? Why are groups praising you for operating in the dark and silencing our parents' voices? You know why. Because you already know it's wrong. So I am begging you to do the right thing, operate in the sunshine, give our parents a voice. No more excuses. Our students deserve it, and they deserve to operate in a world. You said it yourself with your goal. It is our motto. It is your mission for our children to operate in a world. They cannot operate in this world unless they know all about it. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comments. Moving to item number 10, reports and presentations, early learning update. Dr. Haupt and Dr. Breslin.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Weissong, thank you for this opportunity. It is my pleasure to introduce, I know she does not need an introduction, but Dr. Halpin, so she can share about the work she's doing with her extraordinary team. We know when we say Momentum Manatee, it all starts with early learning. Thank you, Dr. Halpin.
Friends, thank you so much for this opportunity to share the impactful work that Early Learning and Family Support Team is accomplishing. My name is Sheila Halpin, and 1 year ago, I was honored to accept the role of Director of Early Learning and continue the work that was begun with Dr. Robin Thompson. Who is your Early Learning team? We provide a circle of support for all early learners and their families. Some of the areas that we work on: we have an Early Learning Family Support Evaluation Center on the campus of Harley Middle School. We have 110 classrooms. 52 of them are pre-K ESE classrooms, and 58 of them are VPK classrooms. We offer community programming, and our leadership team developed a 2-year strategic plan with emphasis on curriculum training, behavioral classroom support with modeling, classroom materials equity in all of our classrooms, and community programming. Our team collectively agreed upon a shared vision and have aligned our work with these goals. We created a living prototype that is adaptable, and we defined our expectations and put systems in place. We researched exemplar customer service models, including the Ritz-Carlton's motto, employee promise, and 3 steps of service. Our brand vision was defined. We became the Early Learning and Family Support Team. We no longer were separate entities such as the Evaluation Center, ESE Pre-K, VPK. Every member on our team supports all early learners and their families. Investing in pre-K pays off. Almost 50% of the eligible students participate in a VPK program, and 60% of those students score a level 3 or above on the 3rd grade ELA assessment. Reading proficiency by the end of 3rd grade is an important predictor of high school graduation. Children are transitioning from reading to learn to learning to read. 90% of the brain develops before age 5. A strong foundation in the early years increases the probability of positive outcomes. That is why our programs promote a balanced and developmentally appropriate approach for the whole child, the family, and our community. What do your pre-K units look like? You have VPK units. That's a 3-hour program that is funded by the Division of Early Learning through the Florida Department of Education. You have IPK programs, which provide a full day of instruction in a classroom with typically developing students and students with different abilities. The students with different abilities in those classrooms have IEPs, and those students can be 3 or 4 years old. You also have ESE pre-K full-day programs. Those are our EPK classrooms. Those are students that require moderate to significant assistance in the areas of social, behavioral, or communication. And you also have intensive units. The students in these classrooms can be 3 or 4 years old, and they have IEPs. Your pre-K teachers educate our most vulnerable students who are 3 and 4 years old. But we also ask them to help families to establish home environments to support their child as a student. When relationships come first in school, success follows. Your early learning teachers are challenged with building strong relationships that set the foundation for positive family involvement that extends beyond our early learning classrooms. Your Early Learning Family Support Center offers developmental screenings, multidisciplinary evaluations, and consultation services for young children suspected of having a delay or disability. We screen and evaluate pre-K children who are not enrolled in public school. Our work helps to identify a child's educational needs and determine if they qualify for special education through the Manatee Education School District. All services are free to qualifying children. The ELFS Evaluation Center is available to any child ages 3 to 5 years old and living in Manatee County. Children are referred to the ELFS Center a variety of ways. They can be referred from pediatricians, from the family themselves, or through other centers in our community. At the ELF Center, we do multidisciplinary evaluations. This allows several team members to work together. This allows for a close working alliance without relinquishing autonomy, and for the convenience of our families, because families can see multiple specialists during one visit. When looking at the data, you will notice that not all students who are referred complete a screening, and that not all children who are screened qualify for an evaluation. It can be overwhelming when you suspect your child has a delay or disability. Your ELF Center understands that parents are our customers. From greeting them warmly on the phone to creating a welcoming environment, we want to anticipate and fulfill all of their needs. It is my pleasure to introduce you to your ELF's evaluation team members. 19 years ago, my son was evaluated through the Evaluation Center. At that time, I was a teacher on assignment. I was educated, I spoke English, and I had transportation. And I didn't have a positive experience. First, you had to find the center on the campus of Lincoln. There was no parent waiting area, and my 3-year-old son was separated from me when the evaluation was being taken. When I applied for this job a year ago, I told the interview team they would certainly interview people that were smarter than I am, but I didn't believe that they would find anybody that was more passionate. Through my career in Manatee County, I've been blessed with many mentors, beginning with Mrs. Lynette Edwards, Judy Laurent, and Steve Roskamp, to name a few. Collectively, all of them have shared you want to invest in the right people. I want to thank Dr. Breslin, Mr. Jensen, and Dr. Wysong for ensuring that you have the right team at the ELF's Evaluation Center. From the time a parent makes the first phone call to the time that a child is seated in one of our classrooms, families have a circle of support. Each of these team members has helped us to transform not only our physical environment, but our responsiveness to families. Since 2005, Florida was one of the first states in the country to offer free VPK to all 4-year-olds, regardless of income. Our VPK program prepares young learners for success in school and life. Voluntary Pre-K is a program that is funded by the Division of Early Learning through the Florida Department of Education. The school district offers the VPK program free of charge to families as either a 540 instructional hour program or a 300 instructional hour summer program. Families may select either the school year or the summer program, but not both. All children who reside in Florida turning 4 by September 1st of the school year are eligible to participate in the VPK program. The School District of Manatee County offers a 2-week VPK choice window where families can select a school site and program that best meets their needs. This 2-week window takes place in February. Currently, our VPK program serves 873 students, and we have 258 on our waiting list. It is my pleasure to introduce you to your ELF's pre-K team members. A year ago, when I took this position, I invested the time to listen to each of these team members. We discussed issues, aspirations, gathered ideas, and identified team strengths and weaknesses. You have an ELF's leadership team. It's comprised of Luann, Angela, Carrie, Jody, Tisha, and Elizabeth. Your leadership team meets regularly for reports and updates and actions and decisions that impact all early learning. Each of these women are experts. They have special skills and knowledge in curriculum, assessment, ESE services, behavior, and family and community programs. They could work anywhere and on any team, and yet they choose to be a part of your ELFs. The success you have in early learning is due to the efforts of these women. I wanted to share a little bit about the VPK Plus program and our wraparound services. At non-title schools, we have a parent pay program. That's the VPK Plus parent pay, and it provides a seamless 7-hour day for families. After VPK hours, parents can choose to have their child stay until the end of the school day. This is a fee-based program. Fees are 9 monthly payments of $300. 88% of families choose wraparound services. And at our title schools, we have VPK Plus, which provides, again, the seamless 7-hour day. This federally funded program is offered at no cost to families. However, families must live within a Title I attendance zone. After VPK hours, parents can choose to have their child stay until the end of the school day. Early learning is making a difference in Manatee County. Third grade students who receive pre-K instruction from either the Manatee County School District or an ELC site had a proficiency rate of 56%. Third grade students who do not receive pre-K instruction from either us or an ELC site had a proficiency rate of 41. And we have a curriculum in all our early learning classrooms. The Florida Early Learning Developmental Standards for 4-year-olds to kindergarten describes the developing skills 4-year-olds should know and be able to do by the end of their pre-K year. The standards encompass 8 essential areas: physical development, approaches to learning, social and emotional, language and literacy, mathematical thinking, scientific inquiry, social studies, and creative expressions through the arts. The high-scope preschool curriculum, along with our pacing guides, which are aligned to the developmental standards, guide our teachers to implement holistic and high-quality instruction. And we progress monitor in our pre-K programs. The STAR FAST and the class are utilized with our VPK students. The STAR FAST Early Literacy Assessment measures a student's proficiency in up to 9 areas that are important for the development in reading. The student will participate in 3 assessment periods: August, January, and May. Parents receive a report following each of those assessments. And the class is a research-based tool conducted by the ELC that assesses the effectiveness of classroom interactions among teachers and children. This tool assesses 3 domains: climate, classroom organization, and instructional support. In our ESE classrooms, we have individual education plans and goals for those students. We offer student portfolios, and we also have the Child Outcome Summary, which is a way for the state to measure the progress of pre-K students receiving ESE services. Parents are informed of their students' progress throughout the school year. In addition, parents are encouraged to enter into an effective school-family community partnership. These 3 spheres of influence do not operate independently of one another, but are mutually reinforcing. The STAR FAST is a computer adaptive assessment designed to measure the early literacy skills of beginning readers. The assessment identifies a student's mastery of literacy concepts that are related to their future success as readers. The assessment uses audio in which a narrator reads questions to students. The questions get easier or more difficult depending upon how the student responds. The assessment takes approximately 15 minutes to complete. Students scoring in the 40th percentile have met benchmark expectations, but our ELFS team has set a goal of wanting every child to score in the 50th percentile at the end of the school year because we understand that summer slide happens. Currently, we have 25% of our students who have not mastered the end of the year benchmarks. So we have targeted support for them. It includes support for our teachers and staff at our schools. We offer quarterly standards newsletters. We offer something called weekly ELFs on Call, where teachers can call in and talk to one of our specialists. Each week we focus on a different area, such as curriculum, assessment, or family engagement, and it becomes a think tank for our teachers. They're able to bring problems to our specialist or concerns, and then it's discussed by everybody that's participating in that call with guidance given by our specialist. We have classroom fly kits, which are family literacy year-long kits. These fly kits are a set of 21 standard-based games that can be utilized in the classroom or sent home with families. We have classroom data chats, we have book circles with our teachers, and on our PL district training days, we offer support for curriculum and adaptations for our ESE classrooms. And for our families, when they're not making progress, our kiddos are not making progress on those benchmarks, we give them quarterly family newsletters with ideas for support and how they can help at home. They're invited to all of our SOAR and 4 programs. They're encouraged to join the New Worlds Reading Initiative, which will send 9 books home to their home address in a genre of their choice. And our team creates individualized backpacks of literacy materials with notes for the family on how to utilize those literacy materials at home to support the standards. And at the end of our school year, students have not met that 50th percentile. Those students are invited to participate in a 4-week summer bridge program. And this year, we offered 2 ESE pre-K nights of conversations where parents could come out and meet with our specialists and community resources to see what would happen with their child for next year. What does kindergarten look like? And just talk about their concerns that they may have for their student. The goal of our community programs are to provide families with the knowledge and skills to become their child's first literacy teacher. The 30 million word gap showed that the first 3 years of a child's life are critical. Children's vocabulary affects how they do in school. Therefore, all our programs focus on language development. Your SOAR and 4 programs consist of the Big SOAR program that we hold each month at the Bishop Museum of Science and Nature. Just entering that museum is new vocabulary for our children and their families. And yet we set up 25 literacy tables where families can visit with a teacher or a community resource representative. We offer story time at 5 library corners, and that happens bi-monthly. It's supported by 6 retired teachers who combine literacy, movement, and song. SOAR and 4 offers infant story time at Manatee Memorial Hospital quarterly. Our retired teachers support the Teenage Parent Program bi-monthly. SOAR and 4 has invested in 17 giveaway libraries at Title I sites so that families have access to dual language children's literature 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. SOAR and 4 has helped to create a storybook trail, which is a deconstructed storybook combining literacy and movement in neighborhoods. Recently, we had the kickoff for our SOAR and 4 Bradenton Reads, where 235 literacy and art banners have been placed throughout the city, the Village of the Arts, Riverwalk, and Rossi Park. This partnership shows the commitment that our community has to early learning. SOAR and 4 participates in community partner outreach events, where our retired teachers take literacy tables out to our community partner events. SOAR and 4 participates in Remake Learning Days with the Suncoast Campaign for Grade Level Reading, and SOAR and 4 offers a teacher opportunity program, Growing Our Own Early Learning Teachers with the State College of Florida. Paraprofessionals have the opportunity to take classes and become an early learning teacher free of charge, utilizing Teach state funding and stipends from SOAR and 4. To date, we have 45 paraprofessionals that are engaged in the program, and we've had 11 graduates who have become teachers. We also collaborate with Suncoast Campaign for Grade Level Reading. This is a collaborative effort sponsored by the Patterson Foundation and aligns resources strategically between 4 counties. Early literacy skills should begin at birth. When parents read, talk, and play with purpose, they help to shape their child's network of brain neurons. Children whose families start reading with them at birth for 30 minutes a day will enter kindergarten with over 900 hours of literacy time. We can't do it alone. Parents are their child's first teachers. Students spend more time with their parents and in our community than they do in school. Therefore, we have created programs to activate parents and our community. And I also want to thank Jeremiah Bowman, because without his work, some of these activities and these programs would not have taken place. The Early Learning Task Force is unique to Manatee County. When the task force was formed 9 years ago, it was a challenge. Prior, our work was competitive and individualistic. The task force ensures that as a community, our work is aligned and supports all early learners in each of our programs, and it extends to early learners and their families who choose not to participate in our programs. Our team has recently been asked by the Office of Early Learning to present our model so that other districts can learn about our work. The Early Learning Task Force unites the Early Learning Coalition of Manatee County, Step Up Suncoast, the ELFS team, to provide coordinated school readiness programs to support the role of parents as their child's first and most important teacher. We attend monthly interagency meetings. We've presented 2 transition to kindergarten breakfasts. We've presented an attendance awareness breakfast. We've helped the ELC to develop a mobile fleet, which has a teacher and paraprofessional on board that goes out through our neighborhoods and to different centers presenting standards-based activities. We've assisted the ELC to develop a mobile evaluation bus, which will provide developmental screenings throughout our community. We support the Manatee Conference for Young Children, which is sponsored by the ELC, and all of our families can take advantage of the Suncoast Step Up Cycle of Opportunity programs, which include how to file taxes, rent assistance, and how to buy a first home. As Mr. Rogers taught us, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Your investment in early learning pays off over time. My son, who was evaluated at the Pre-K Evaluation Center 19 years ago, received early intervention and is a product of the Manatee County school system. I am proud to say that he graduated in May with a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from Embry-Riddle University. So as a mother, I say thank you for your investment in early learning. And as the director of the ELFS, I ask you to continue in investing in early learning so that all children have the opportunity that Jack did. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. So there's some questions and comments and things like that. First off, whoever created the acronym ELFS is awesome. And next event, Sword and Four, or we do something like that, can we get your whole group to dress up as like Buddy the Elf? That'd be fantastic.
Oh.
I'm not saying we do, but you all do.
Okay.
No, but on a serious note, we have, ever since I've been on the board, and we talk about this when we get our reading data and things like that, we absolutely see a difference in what we as a district have put into early learning and are seeing the dividends now. My challenge to you, and I don't want you to come up with an answer now, but the question I have and the challenge is, we saw in there, only 60%, right, are going through VPK and everything through us. We've got 258 on a waiting list. How do we do more, right? And so, is it another center? Is it talking to more of the physicians and the how do we come up with making that from 60 to 100%, right? How do we make sure that the parents out there know that these programs are happening, right?
Yes.
You talked about 19 years ago finding the center at Lincoln, and now it's at Harley, but do we need more? Like, is there, so, and I know that all that comes with a cost, and there's budgets and there's things like that, but we don't know unless we know, right? And so I know I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'd speak for myself here on the board, but I think we're all pretty committed to the early learning, and we know that that's where it starts. And so that would be my challenge to you. I mean, you're doing amazing things. So I'm asking one more thing, right? You guys do unbelievable stuff. And how can we help with more? And I know it's going to mean more elves and more walls and bricks, and I get that. But for me personally, I'd really like to know how can we make this even better? Because we see the numbers don't lie, and so why can't we take this to almost every single kid? So thank you for all you do. Board members, questions, comments?
Yeah, I thank you. One of the first things I observed when I got on the board was a Soaring 4 event, and met with you and at lunch, and I just, I understand how important it is, and as Chad said, or Mr. Choate, that we are seeing the results. So I just want to mention that we are this board's part of the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards, which represents more than 50% of the students in the state of Florida. And I was in Tallahassee last week and talking with legislators and who are on education committees. So they're the people who are going to be the movers on it. And it's part of our Greater Consortium's priorities, not part of, I mean, it's like it's in the top 3, to get VPK available for all day, and they're even kicking around universal, I don't remember how they put it, but it would be basically but kindergarten for 4-year-olds, but that's a dream, because it's going to take a lot of money, a lot of effort. But I do think at least those legislators are understanding the difference it makes, and so I'll continue advocating for you how I can. So,
and that's what we
thank you.
find. It's one conversation at a time. When we started Soaring 4,
yeah,
it started at one school campus for one summer, and now it's blossomed into this huge once-a-month event in downtown Bradenton. And you can see all the community programs that have been creative to try to support the families that are not choosing to participate in VPK. But it is that one conversation at a time, and that's why our retired teachers going out and working with our teenage parents, to working with the Mom's Place at Manatee Memorial Hospital. I mean, we're working with families that have infants that are 1 week old, and they're asking for information, and part of that conversation is to start, preparing now for VPK. So it's that one conversation at a time to let them know that these resources are available to them, and they make a huge difference.
They do. Thank you for all of you. Well,
Yes.
all of your work. Thank you.
All the elves.
All the elves.
Anybody else? No? Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Halpin,
Hold on, don't run away. One
you
more.
have to earn a little bit more of your money this evening. This is very good. One of my favorite words that I like to use is virtue. And really, if you go back and look at some of those ancient Greek philosopher types, they'll tell you that virtue comes from habit and starting at an early age. And so the things that you're doing in this, I'm sure you're training the mind to read and get into the habit of looking at words and hearing words, but you're also training behaviors, I'm assuming too, right, about how to be involved with other children and in a classroom environment, so that you're just developing all these habits that leads to virtuous behavior down the road. So I just wanted to congratulate you and your team on doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Dan.
But I do have a couple questions for you, if
Of
that's
course.
okay. Great. So on page 2 of your presentation, I don't know if we necessarily need to go there. It's just a quick question. It says we have 110 classrooms. That does not count private.
Correct. This is just us.
Just in our school district.
Yes.
Okay, great. And And then we might want to go to page 3 in the presentation. I would just like to make sure that I understand what this chart is trying to tell me here. So on the left side, it's VPK participation of grade 3 students.
Yes.
And then let's go to the top school year, 2022-23. So what's that saying of all the children in the county that could participate? Is that what that's
Yes.
trying to show us? 47.3% participated on a full-time basis.
Yes.
5.3% came but didn't finish.
Wait.
And then actually more than about 47.4% are not in our VPK programs, right?
Correct.
So there are actually more that aren't in them than are in them to some degree, right?
Correct.
Okay, but the good news is that if you go to the other chart, the good news is that, again, let's just go to the 2022-23 school year. If you participate, when you get to third grade, that's right, 60.4% score a 3 or above.
Correct.
Okay, and then for those who at least did some, they're at about 43.9%.
Yes.
And then if you don't do any, you're down at 36.9%.
Yes.
Right? So developing those virtuous habits. That's
Correct.
good. Okay, that's pretty good data. I mean, it's hard. It would be hard to refute that.
I
you know?
agree.
And I imagine if you looked at every county across Florida, you'd probably have something similar that shows that VPK attendance causes higher third grade reading proficiency
Yes.
down the road. Great. May we please move to slide number 8. So the school system receives funding for a half a day of VPK?
Yes, that's
Is
not
it-
just a school, yes. The VPK is a 3-hour funded program.
Okay. Now, I know that for every student that we have in a seat, so to speak, when we do these counts, we get a certain amount of money. Do you know how the funding comes for
Not
it?
for VPK. VPK
Okay.
is funded through, if I'm understanding the question correctly, the VPK is a set amount that our students receive for those 3 hours.
Okay.
So if you're in an ESE classroom, that's when students receive additional support, or they receive an allocation for being in that seat also. So it's more funding for our children in those ESE seats.
Okay. Maybe this is not your area of expertise, it might be even from Ms. Sellers or even Dr. Weissong, but so when we have a child in a seat in third grade, we get a BSA, a basic student allowance for each child in the seat. How does the state determine how much money to send us for VPK?
It's the same amount throughout the state.
Same amount. Is it a fixed amount? They look at all the kids that are available in the county and they say
For the state,
for the state,
for the VPK funding.
based on, so I guess what I'm trying to get to is why do we have 258 children on a wait list?
We don't have seats for them.
No seats for them. Do we have funding for them?
If we had seats for them, we would receive funding for them. A lot of times we don't have capacity to fill everybody on the wait list.
Okay.
So if we don't have an available seat on a school campus, then we don't have a place for that child.
Okay. And again, sometimes the why question can be perceived as a negative question, but
No.
I'm just asking, why do we not have enough? We don't have enough teachers, we don't have enough space, we don't have enough crayons, what?
For VPK, it's an optional program.
Okay.
So the space at a school first goes to kindergarten through 5. And then if there are additional seats or rooms on that campus, we may be able to place a VPK classroom there. But if a school is filled to capacity already, there is not room for a VPK classroom on that school. One of the things going forward is, as we start to look at building new schools, I would like our language to change. I think a lot of times we're so used to the habit of saying a K-8 school we're building or a K-5 school that we're building. It would be nice to begin that conversation with, we're building a pre-K-5 school. If there's a need for kindergarten, there should be a need for pre-K in that school also. So looking at that capacity and making sure moving forward, we're thinking about pre-K as we go.
That's one of the best ideas I think I've heard since I've been sitting at this dais. The idea of calling it a pre-K through 5 or a pre-K through 8. Now it costs money, and Dr. Weissong's sitting over there going, yeah, it always sounds good in your brain, Mr. Tatum, until you got to pay for it. But if we could get people thinking along those lines, and since I'm going down that line of thinking, I'll ask you this question. So I was in one of our consortium meetings the other day, yes, it was a consortium meeting. Anyway, the question came up about, I wanted to know if the state has committed to paying for a half day of a VPK, why don't, and we have, the state of Florida has something like a $13 billion or budget surplus this year. Why not fix, or why not fund the second half of VPK? And the people that I talked to, who I thought would be in agreement with that idea, great idea, let's take it to the legislature and get them to pass it now, they actually kind of pushed back a little bit, and they said something to the effect of, well, we would want to make sure that it's quote unquote developmentally appropriate. And I get that. I mean, you take a 4 or 5 year old child and you have them in school for 6 or 7 hours a day, but according to your presentation, we're already doing that anyway, are we not?
And it all goes back to the developmental standards for 4-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. So do you have a concern about that, about children being in? So what do you think their concern? Because these are people that are teachers and work in the education industry. What are they?
I can't speak for them, but I would invite them to come down and look at our classrooms.
Yeah. So you as a professional in this field don't have any issues with having. And what would the typical day look like, from 8 to 3, or what would that something like?
We have circle time. We have morning meetings, but then we go through the developmental standards. So we have literacy time, we have music, we have movement. We're working on science and social studies. We're starting those routines that make them good students.
Yeah, habits, right?
Habits. Starting those habits.
So I know that we have some elementary schools, especially on the west side of town, that are not at full capacity. But then you said, well, the reason we can't offer some of this, the opportunity to 258 children on the wait list is because maybe we don't have classrooms. Is this what's the issue there? Is it that the classroom is here, but the people who need it live in this neighborhood that's 5 miles away, and some of them are in Title I schools, and they don't have a way to get their kid to the.
Yes.
And one of the ideas that sounds good in my brain, well, let's get a van and ship them over there, but that costs money. I get it. So, but.
And you have to remember they're also 3 and 4.
Right. Okay.
So they're little. So speaking as a parent that had a 3-year-old on a bus with a car seat, I followed the bus for the first 3 days. So, but you do have to remember they're also 4. So we don't want them to be on a bus for a long period of time. So I think there is room to have conversation about where do we need systemic growth. But it has to be purposeful growth, because just like you're saying, to put another VPK unit out at Anna Maria right now, I don't think I can fill it. It was the first year that we offered VPK there. We were able to fill it, but it goes by word of mouth. Families had a good experience, tell their neighbors with young children, but you have to make sure that you have the 18 to 20 children to start that classroom.
Okay. Now, do VPK classrooms require a certified teacher or not?
Some do and some do not. So if you're at a title school, we require them to be certified teachers. If you're at a non-title school, we have CDAs that also support our children.
Okay. And if we open up a VPA classroom, again, this goes back to the funding question. I still don't know if I understand it. Is if the child is there, the student will send us the funds. So it's kind of a break-even proposition, so to speak. Although there might be some other costs that go along with it that Mr. Rowan could probably tell me about. But it's generally, if you have a student, you will get the funding.
Yes.
So the
reimbursement from the state.
The limiting factor here right now for these 258 children is
the classrooms in the right spots.
Classrooms in the right spots, right? And do most of these. So how do most of these children get there? Their parents drop them off. Correct. They walk.
There's no transportation provided, so they walk. They utilize their own transportation. Family members.
What advertising do we do, so to speak, or how do we to go out into the community? I'm sure you do a lot. I'm just curious what it is.
So that's why we're part of the Early Learning Task Force. My belief is that I want all of our programs to be high quality programs. Of course, I want our families in the community to choose one of our district VPK programs. But if they don't, we want to make sure that our ELC providers and our Head Start providers are also offering quality programs. My belief is if we don't get them, we're going to get them in kindergarten. So we want to make sure that they're coming to school prepared. So that's one of the things we talk about in our early learning task force is how can we spread the message. That's why the ELC developed a fleet that's going out into neighborhoods talking about signing up for pre-K programs. At every Soarin' 4 event, we have a district table that talks about VPK and how to register. In our story times, as I shared before, we're starting conversations with infants and their parents when they're coming to meet our retired teachers and doing music and movement, and we're already starting to plant that seed about VPK programming.
How about in the maternity wards?
We haven't gotten to the maternity wards, but some of the
never know.
but some of the parents that are coming to Mom's Place haven't had their baby yet. So that's why Manatee Memorial invited us in. So the youngest we've had at story time so far has been a 1-week-old.
How about foster? My wife's actually a guardian ad litem. How, it just comes to my mind, foster families?
Everybody is invited to our Soarin' 4 programs, but we also work with an organization called Whole Child, and we share all of the Soarin' 4 information each month with Kim Ross, and she distributes throughout her listserv all the Soarin' 4 information, how it's free to everybody to participate. So we have had foster care providers and foster homes actually come and participate in Soarin' 4.
I don't know if in that process you talked about if you work with the guardian ad litem office, but it might be an interesting another avenue to get information.
We would love to do that.
Because the guardian ad litems then can go to the foster families and say, hey, look, there's this
Yes.
great opportunity. And some of the great opportunities I wanted to point out is all the opportunities for free literature that
Yes.
apparently are available from the state. What was the name of the program that the state?
The New Worlds Reading Initiative.
Worlds Reading.
So children that are not meeting proficiency are invited to participate in that program. So we've personally, for the 25% of our children that aren't meeting benchmarks right now, we've sent them specific targeted letters on how to register. Their teachers are helping them to register. They get to pick 9 books in the genre that they want. It's in dual language also, and the families receive the 9 books sent directly to their home. It's similar to the Books for Kids, the Books is Cool program that is sponsored by the Patterson Foundation in the summer, and we'll also start promoting that with our families also. So they'll have more summer books.
And there's Soarin' 4.
Soarin' 4 always each month, and then out in the community at community events, and in our libraries also.
And then there's the Rotary Club.
The Rotary Club Books for Kids program that we love starts as a kindergarten program and goes through 3rd grade. We also have our Dive into Reading summer program supported by John and Amanda Horn, and we do our Day for Hope program in August, preparing at-risk or homeless children to start school ready and prepared and with dignity.
I know there are some community members that have brought to my attention the idea that, you know, some children only get books in the school libraries, but there are, for parents or other citizens that would like to have children get reading opportunities, because we have limited resources in our school libraries. We just can't buy this whole big wide range of all kinds of literature that's out there. It has to be focused on the curriculum and the instruction for the children. These are great opportunities for children, or for parents and citizens, grandmothers and grandfathers, to get their children free literature.
Free books, and for their own personal libraries. None of these are returned to us. They're all given away freely.
That's right. I'm kind of jazzed about this, so thank you for letting me make some comments. I just have one more. Let's see, and on slide number 11, please. So there it's number 1. What year was this for the 56?
Last year.
So that was the 2022-23 school year.
Yes.
Okay. That's a little different than the chart that you had, but is that an overall? Because I think on the chart back on page 3 it was 60.4. I'm just curious about the, not that it's that big a deal. I just want to make sure that I'm reading that, back on
Yes.
page 3.
You did read that correctly. This is last year's data.
Okay. So on
On
the chart
page
for
11.
2023. So last year would be considered the 2022-23 school year?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you're showing on page 11?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you. Hope you didn't think that was an inquisition.
No, I appreciate
it. It was just
your-
really jazzed, and I like that word, jazzed, because that's what I feel like about this. Like, if you can start children early and get them in really good habits, it makes the 3rd grade, the kindergarten teacher's job so much easier. And we develop these virtuous habits and just keep on pushing them through the school system. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and hopefully we can get enough momentum in this state between all of us and maybe Mr. Gregory and Mr. Robinson and Senator Boyd to get that second day of VPK funded. And then it might be, I think it's an interesting data point for you that there are people out there in the education world who you think would be all on board with that second half of the VPK day that are pushing back a little bit because they think it's developmentally too much maybe, or it's not appropriate. And that might be a little data point for you as you advocate for that. So
Thank you.
thank you for your time, and thank you, board members, for allowing me to make some extensive comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I follow up one question? that-
Dr. Halpins, sorry.
Yeah, well, this was raised, something that Mr. Tatum said. If physical capacity is the limitation out east, where the growth is, why aren't we using portables? Is there a reason that we can't do that?
I would imagine.
We'll look at the superintendent.
Was that your only question? He did have other comments. I'd just rather him go and answer all that.
Okay,
those
and
comments,
then the
or
other is,
if you have
it
something
says that people are limited to either the summer program or the school year.
That's
but not
correct. You
both.
can't participate in both.
And why is that?
Because they only get one VPK voucher. So each family, when they enroll in the program, is given one voucher, and the state says they can either use that as a school year program, what's going to be most convenient for the family, or in that summer program, but they can't utilize it for both. The program only supports one aspect of the program.
Do you see that being a problem for families where they go, if they had the opportunity to go 12 months of the year?
Yeah, year round.
Yeah, I think we could have some extended discussion on that. I don't know that it's a problem for the families, but I do love the idea of the students that aren't making progress or meeting that benchmark, that we provide that summer bridge program.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Dr. Weissman?
Thank you, Chairman. Couple of comments. First of all, the purpose of the presentation today is that all of this work is in alignment with the board strategic plan, Ready to Learn Goal 5. At our strategic plan workshop a few weeks back, the board was pretty much unanimous in its support for prioritizing early learning and literacy through grade 3. And of course, Dr. Halpin and her team are on the front end of that work. And so we felt like this was an opportune time to have that update, particularly as we're moving into budget and staffing season and talking about aligning resources to priorities. I also want to thank Dr. Halpin for her leadership. I talk with our principals and our district leadership team about leaders who have the ability to catalyze people's discretionary energy, that extra time that employees put in that is beyond the workday and kind of beyond the contract because they're so passionate about the work, and that good leaders know how to catalyze that discretionary energy. And Dr. Halpin is among the best I've met in terms of being able to do that and move people to get together and get stuff done. So Dr. Halpin, thank you for your leadership. We're very, very lucky to have you. Finally, with regards to some of the questions, when Mr. Rinaldi and his team are planning for schools and growth, keep in mind that elementary capacity is based on expected K through 5 enrollment. And so the VPK piece is not contemplated there. And so even when we're building, we've got a K-8 right on the board and then 2 elementaries on the board as well for future growth. But in getting permission to build those schools, those capacity numbers are factoring in K through 5. Right, not 4-year-olds, because remember, we're not the only provider that's authorized. And so there's not a mandate to serve there. Where we do have capacity, where we might have an empty classroom or two, VPK is one potential use, but there are other competing uses. And so, for example, if you have a hypothetical elementary school and the enrollment is a little under capacity and you have an empty classroom, you may have a principal say, this is awesome because I've always wanted to try this unique reading intervention strategy, and I need an extra classroom to do it, that competes with, or we can add a VPK unit. The other piece that I think if you talked with some of our principals that have a lot of VPK units or ESE pre-K units, is there is an additional burden that comes with administering those, because you're adding 3 and 4 year olds on elementary campuses, and again, we're focused on that K through 5 enrollment number. So I think some of our principals would say, this is great, we love having more students, we love having more faculty, but there is a time cost to that, right? So this is, as always, a balancing act, right, in trying to get it all right. Certainly we would love to serve all of those additional students. Some of their families are in places where schools are crowded, but even where we have a little bit of capacity, we have to kind of weigh all of that out. And so that's where Dr. Halpin works with our principal supervisors on how all of that will be allocated. But certainly anytime we can find space, we want to serve more families, and because frankly it's an opportunity to connect with those families and get them in the door of our schools. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much.
I will move to item number 11, consent items. Superintendent Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of the consent agenda for the school board meeting on February 27th, 2024.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the consent items. We are ready to vote on those. Let's go ahead and cast your vote. Thank you. Passes 5-0. Moving along, board members. I know we're getting close to our hour and a half. Are you okay? We just continue to cruise here. We good? Okay. Skipping down to item number 14 for new business. Item number 1 is the approval of the MTC Florida Law Academy agreement between the owner and 80 Morgan Construction. Superintendent Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of the MTC Florida Law Academy agreement between the school district and AD Morgan Construction. This is Amendment 3 for a guaranteed maximum price in the amount of $4,437,976.98 from capital funds.
So moved.
Do you have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a second, and so just as we discuss this or need to, Dr. Weissong, will you just brief us on what this final is and what's coming to us now?
Certainly. So, board members, you're aware that this has been a project years long in the making. There is an agreement in place between the school district and the city of Bradenton to add a joint use facility that will both meet the needs of our law enforcement academy at Manatee Technical College and also meet the needs of our local and regional law enforcement community. That lease is in place, and all of the necessary pre-work has been done, and so today's recommendation would lock in that guaranteed maximum price with the contractor that was selected and allow us to move forward. There were some changes that were made, and I want to thank Mr. Rinaldi, Mr. Wagner, Dr. Gansimer, Mr. Penley from the district, and then Mayor Brown, City Manager Perry, and Chief Bevan from the city of Bradenton. We were able, of course, costs are higher now than they were when this deal was first struck, and so we had to compromise on a couple of things, but we've landed in a place that allows us to move forward. And I do anticipate that based on the recommendation of the board's legal counsel, Mr. Dye, that we may need to bring a third amendment between the district and the city just to clean up some of the language. But again, today's vote locks in the district's price with the contractor. So, and of course, Mr. Rinaldi, Mr. Wagner are both here in case you have any questions.
Just a quick question to Mr. Wagner. Do you know of any other, like right now we don't have our own at the technical college, and then you may not know this answer, but where does this put us in the realm of technical colleges that have this type of facility?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I will say this, is that even Sarasota is driving to Hillsborough County to utilize facilities up there. So there is nothing around in our immediate vicinity that we could utilize. We currently still drive at the old MTI site over by Bayshore High School, and we shoot at Shoot Straight. And so, you know, it does put us at a disadvantage. We have to do tactical training with our recruits, and when you shoot in a commercial setting, you can't even holster your gun. You really have to point it straight ahead. And so what we currently have is just not working. So this puts us at a different playing field, and we're excited to have this project going forward.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't see any board members requesting to speak. Okay.
I'm up. Come back. First of all, I want to thank you for your time to give me a little bit of history on this project. I'm excited for this project, but I wanted to know in depth, how long have we been trying to get this? What kind of facilities is, I know I looked at it in depth, 45 foot berms, I think, is what we're having, 200 feet long for the range, and then the driving area. So I looked at this diagram with a lot of interest because I think it's going to be a great thing. I didn't understand why the county wasn't brought to the table, but I understand they're interested in using the facility. So I want the county to know that we're building this because we need this for our community. We have the fire department that we provide candidates for, and we also have a police academy. We just don't have a place for them to train. Am I correct in understanding that? Because we, like you said, we're sending them out by Bayshore, and or they're going to Shoot Straight. This is going to eliminate that for both the city and the county to be able to do that. But I would like you to share that there's also interest outside of the county that has interest in using our facility, correct?
Absolutely. A couple answers to your question. So we've been actually working on this for over 15 years. So this is nothing that we started that's been new. It has been over 15 years that we've been working on this, and our initial plan was to work with the county, and we did. And they did allocate land for us out at Port Manatee. And that was not, for a number of different reasons, land that we could utilize for this project. And so we looked at many different other locations to have this project. And we ended up with working with the city of Bradenton because they already had land, and they had a shooting range on that land already. So that did work out in favorable for everyone. And when we had the project at the MTI campus, and we have a firing range at MTI right now, which is torn down. All the buildings are torn down with the exception of this firing range. Everybody utilized it. Every agency in Manatee County used our firing range, and they all paid a fee. So it wasn't something that the school board just had and everybody utilized. They utilized it and paid for the fee, helped with the cleanup, helped with the maintenance, helped with the mechanical arms that bring the targets forward and backwards, helped with the range master. So we intend this to be utilized by all the agencies still as we go forward. Our current partner is with the city of Bradenton, and that's who donated the land, and that's why we have the facility with them. But everybody's going to have to use this and want to use this. Nobody has a 300 by 600 driving pad that can conduct traffic stops, can really simulate what's happening in the field. So it's an exciting time.
And a property that it's on, that we could anticipate adding other options later if we wanted to, from what I understand. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We don't know what the revenue will be because we're not sure what how all that's going to work with agencies renting it, but the plan is to continue to expand and continue to offer facilities that our law enforcement agencies need.
Okay. And that's basically, I wanted to actually highlight that we are doing this. This is going to serve our community. It's going to serve our law enforcement agencies, not only here, but even neighboring counties. And I mean, this is so far out east, I can see DeSoto, Hardy, and other counties to the east of us, saying, hey, they got a great facility. Let's see what we can do to work with Manatee County and start, of course, fee-based. So I just wanted to make sure that we actually highlighted this, because it has been a project in the works for 15 years now. And I just want to say thank you for all the work you've done on it.
Well, I appreciate that, and if I could just take a minute, because we do have Senator Galvano in the audience, and he really gets the credit. He and Representative Boyd and Representative Robinson, they really pushed this forward when they were in office back in 2019, 2020. So we did get a legislative budget request item for $2 million for this, and that really jump-started this project, because we've been talking about it for 15 years. So without the support, this would not be where it is today. So I do want to say thank you to them.
Thank you.
All right.
I was up.
You want it?
My granny case is not working, but yeah, go ahead.
I would just like, you don't have to get up, Doug, it's all good. I would just like to make the comment that I saw Chief Bevins and Mayor Brown today, the Chief of Police in Bradenton, and also the Mayor, and they were very pleased with this project. They were jazzed, to use my favorite word of the day, right? So it's a great opportunity. It's a great show of cooperation between the city and even the county to some degree, but certainly the school system. And the more that we can do, the better. I mean, they were just really pleased. And actually, Chief Bevins even made the comment today that she thought that the coordination between the county and the city and the school system is the best that she's ever seen. So, you know, I think we're all doing a good job in that area. So I just wanted to compliment. I'm not doing that. You guys are doing that. So I just wanted to pass that along from other leaders in the community. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, let's go ahead and vote on the approval of the MTC Florida Law Academy agreement between owner and A.D. Morgan. That passes 5-0. Item number 2, Superintendent Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval to notify Parish Charter Academy in writing of proposed action to renew their contract and to enter into contract renewal discussions for the 2024 through 2029 school years.
So moved.
A motion
Second. I'll second.
and a second. I see that. And Dr. Weissong, we got a couple of these coming up here in the next 3 or 4 lists, just so that we all know the process of how these renewals and the contracts happen. Can you just give us a feedback on what this starts and how does it end later on?
Thank you, Chairman. This process is governed by Section 1002.33 Florida statutes. And so when you have a year where a charter school's contract is expiring, typically on June 30th, you go through a program review process. That involves the school district staff reviewing the academic program as well as the financials, and of course those are monitored monthly, but this is kind of an updated review. And then based on that process, we come to a conclusion and then bring it to the board. If the board approves this item tonight, staff will enter into contract renewal negotiations, and we will bring those to you later this spring for final approval. Again, the statute guides the process, and thank you to Dr. Breslin, Dr. Heyer, and the various individuals from different departments who make all these review processes happen.
My Granicus is working now, by the way.
Okay.
It says 0 speakers, right? I had to refresh a little bit there.
I did want.
Oh, never mind. Now we've got 2, 1, 2. Okay. Mr. Tatum.
This is probably a question for Dr. Weissong. How do we determine the length of the contract that we are going to? Is this a proposed action to renew? How do we determine the length of the contract that we renew for?
So the statutory criteria speaks to, again, the program review, the fiscal review, and then indicates that a contract renewal is offered if there are no grounds for non-renewal, and those are contained in the statute. So there is a provision that schools that have an A or a B grade in the prior year and that have been operating for 3 years are eligible for a longer-term renewal of up to 15 years. Okay. Schools that don't meet that criteria are eligible for a renewal of not less than 5 years. The school district of Manatee County has historically done 5-year renewals.
Okay.
The only time that has been shorter is for a school whose most recent grade is below a C, and there's a separate provision in statute that addresses that.
So it's either 15 years or 5 years or less than 5 years. Is there something in between 9?
Well, again, the statute says not less than 5.
not less
so
than
you
5.
could go more than 5, but the minimum is 5. That has, again, the school district of Manatee County has typically done 5-year renewals with the idea that if you reach that A or B grade and qualify, then you get that longer 15-year term.
Okay. The reason I brought that up, there was a constituent who brought up the point about could it be any longer because it helps with their financing and things like that, but I assume, so how did we get to the, and again, I'm asking just for information purposes, how do we get to the 5-year instead of 6 or 7 or 9 or whatever that is?
So again, the past practice, and keep in mind you have more than a dozen charters operating in Manatee County, right? So you have to think about what's been done before, right? You want to treat people consistently, and so typically renewal has been for a 5-year period. If it was the board's desire to change that, then I think we would need to go back and look at that entire set of processes. Again, keeping in mind that for a charter that is earning a grade of A or B, the statute already provides for a longer renewal. Okay. So we're really talking about at this 5-year level C charter schools.
Okay. So what I think I heard you say was that this is kind of applying a standard to all the schools that are out there, and they're getting the same treatment that all the other charter schools in the same category as they are getting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. That's all I have then. Thank you.
All right, I don't have any other board members lit up. So let's go ahead and vote on item number 2, which is the approval to notify Parish Charter Academy in writing and propose action to renew and enter in contract discussions. Sorry. That passes 5-0. Item number 3, Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval to notify Visible Men Academy in writing of proposed action to renew and enter into contract renewal discussions for the 2024 to 2029 school years.
So moved.
I'll second.
I don't see anyone lit up to discuss, so let's go ahead and vote on the approval to notify Visible Men Academy of their renewal and enter into contract negotiations. That passes 5-0. Item number 4, Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval to notify William Monroe Rowlett Academy of Arts and Communication in writing of proposed action to renew and to enter into contract renewal discussions for the 2024 through 2039 school years. And just for clarification, this applicant meets the requirement for the 15-year renewal.
So moved.
A second.
The motion is second on the floor. I do not see any board members lit to speak, so let's go ahead and vote on item number 4. That passes 5-0. Last item, number 5, Dr. Weissong.
Thank you, Chairman. I recommend approval of the Florida High School for Accelerated Learning Manatee Incorporated Charter School application.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. We have one speaker, Mr. Traden.
Unless you were going to ask Mr. Chairman, maybe Dr. Weissong could just give us an overview of what this is, please.
Yeah, I think this is a unique
Yes.
charter school that we do not currently offer.
Yes, so again, this is an initial charter school application. This applicant does operate similar models in other school districts in Florida. The application was submitted, it was complete, it was reviewed through our standard process. And again, I won't go through the list of names, but there are about 39 people in the district who touch these applications when they come in, because they're the subject matter experts in the department. So thank you to everybody who's involved in these reviews, again, as well as Dr. Heyer and Dr. Breslin. The application per the review team was comprehensive. Any questions or concerns were addressed, and so the committee recommends approval of the application. This is a little bit of a different operating model. This is a blended learning model. So there's a face-to-face location, but there's an online component, and this school serves students, high school students in that type of environment, and offers something different than what our 7 high schools offer.
That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and vote on item number 5, the approval of the Florida High School for Accelerated Learning, and that passes 5-0. Moving on to updates, instructional update, Mr. Jensen.
And the room clears out.
Good evening, Church Hope, board members, Superintendent Wysong. Just a quick few instructional updates. Earlier, Dr. Halpin referenced the Suncoast campaign for grade level reading. One of their upcoming events is the Suncoast Remake Learning Days, which is a 15-day festival of community and free events for children and families, kind of extending classrooms out into community spaces. We actually have a record number of schools participating in this year's festival, including Palmview, Blackburn, Myakka, Mills, Williams, Bashaw, Terra, Harvey, and many of our Soarin' 4 programs as well. And that festival will be running from April 20th to May 4th. I also had the privilege, thanks to Mr. Chapman and Mr. Edwards, to take a team of our district leaders and school supervisors to visit several of our community after-school programs earlier this month, including Avenue 941, the Palmetto Youth Center, the Dr. Barbara Harvey Centers, the Boys and Girls Clubs, the 9th and 13th Avenue Dream Centers, where we have more than 1,100 of our students attending these after-school programs. And so kind of collaborating with Dr. Breslin and her team, our principal supervisors and the school leaders at the schools that kind of feed into those programs and many others in our district, we're really kind of looking at comprehensive ways to support our students after school inside of those programs too. So we appreciate the partnership of those programs to, again, support students learning beyond the walls of their school. And finally, we have our MTC Construction Rodeo, which is the annual rodeo that takes place March 7th at MTC. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And at the event, more than 300 students are going to have the chance to interact with local businesses, industry representatives, engage in hands-on activities, and learn about current workforce and trade opportunities. So, thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Mr. Rinaldi.
Good evening, Chairman Choate, board members. Couple quick items. Human resources, we had our job fair on February 22nd. We had 116 attendees. 20 offers were made, 11 with food service, 4 paraprofessionals, 1 with transportation, and 4 custodial. March, we're not having any job fairs due to spring break. However, we pick right back up in April. We've got an operational job fair that's going to be happening in Wakeland on the 4th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Focus again on the operations side as well as paraprofessionals. The annual Great Teacher Teach-In will be occurring in Lakeland, and that is on Saturday, April 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. And we will have representatives there doing the interviewing as well. And finally, the Spring Teacher Paraprofessional Job Fair that previously I had told you was going to be on March 16th has been rescheduled to April 20th, and that's going to be from 9 until noon, and that's on Saturday as well, and it's going to be at the MTC campus. So that's kind of a roundup on what Human Resources has going on. Transportation, their current driver class, we've got 4 drivers and 6 attendants that are close to graduation at this point. The transportation pipeline, we've got 12 drivers that we're working to get them through their permitting process, and we have another 12 attendants too. Our next transportation class starts on March 4th, so we're trying to get those people so that they have their permits and they're ready to start class on March 4th. And then finally, food service. They always like to give me a little bit of a zinger here, but elementary school cafeteria celebrated Florida Literacy Week. Books from the food group book series were read, including The Sour Grape, The Cool Bean, The Couch Potato, The Good Egg, and The Smart Cookie. They were shared with students, and at the same time, those specific items were also on the menu for that day as well. In the secondary schools, they celebrated the Super Bowl on the 9th of February, and select students actually got one student at each school received an iTunes gift card as well in celebration of the big game. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any legal updates?
Legal will yield to the superintendent.
Awesome. Dr. Weissong.
I'll take that extra time. Thank you, Mr. Dye. Board members, thank you for your support of the consent agenda tonight. There were 17 items on consent that allows us to continue the routine operation of the district. I do want to highlight two memorandums of understanding that you approved. On the instructional side, the first is Project Parasol. That is a U.S. Department of Education grant that went to the University of South Florida. And because of your approval of the MOU, we will be able to refer our ESOL paraprofessionals to USF to work toward a teaching degree. The grant helps fund their tuition, materials, and stipends. I was at a Title I elementary this morning and met two ESOL paraprofessionals who are working toward their bachelor's degree. Mrs. Foreman was with me on that visit, and they were both very excited about the possibility of becoming teachers and hopefully staying at that school. And of course, when our paraprofessionals are successful doing that, obviously it dramatically changes their income, their family opportunities, their retirement. And so it's a great opportunity for them. The second memorandum of understanding is with a 501c3 group called Learning Ally. They partner with universities, state legislatures, and state departments of education on early literacy policy and tools. We'll be participating at 3 elementary schools in a pilot of a pre-literacy and reading assessment that's designed to help our teachers identify students at high risk for dyslexia and word level problems. This is an additional tool, if you will, to help our striving readers. So thank you for allowing us to partner with that group. It's been an exceptional February in the school district of Manatee County. Of course, at the last board meeting, we highlighted the Black History Month activities going on throughout the district. Tonight, we were treated to a lot of amazing things happening in career and technical education. Board members, I know several of you after the last board meeting were able to attend the VEX robotics tournament that almost all of our elementary and middle schools participate in. I was overwhelmed by the student excitement and the level of problem solving and communication and collaboration demonstrated by those teams. So it was a great event. Since our last meeting, my school visits have continued. I had an opportunity to visit Miller, Ballard, Gullett, and Seabreeze. And later this week, we'll get to spend time at both Braden River Elementary and Middle. And again, thanks to all of you who've been able to join me. Earlier this month, Mary Glass from the Manatee Ed Foundation also joined me for 3 visits. And then I've extended an invitation to a few other Manatee 501c3 leaders who are supporting our families in a variety of ways so that they can see the impact that their organizations are having on our students. Couple of other opportunities or things that we've been out engaged in. Mr. Chapman and I visited with the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance Board of Directors last week, spent an hour with them just talking through the state of education in Manatee County and some of the plans we have for the future. That was a great group, enjoyed interacting with them. And then Mr. Chapman, Mr. Edwards, and I have completed the first of 3 breakfasts with our SAC chairs. So we had 13 SAC chairs that joined us for breakfast and conversation last week. That communication across schools about what's happening in the district is incredibly valuable, and I know that Mr. Chapman, Mr. Edwards, and I got a lot of great feedback from those SAC leaders in terms of initiatives and things that we can do better, and so it was a great conversation. Finally, I'm looking forward to our workshop on Friday, and just again for the public's knowledge, we have a 1-item workshop on Friday to talk about the future of the millage referendum. This will be, board, your 3rd workshop on this topic, and again for the public, that all of those videos are available online if you're interested and want to hear the prior conversation. And board members, Friday, of course, is your agenda, your time to talk. Staff will be here to answer your questions, but there won't be presentations, just an opportunity for you all to discuss how you would like to move forward. And then depending on how that discussion goes, I will update the workshop request list with schedule of future workshop topics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board comments for tonight? Tatum, Foreman, Messenger, Spray, myself. So Mr. Tatum.
Okay, good evening. 2 quick things. Let's start out with good news. I do have the opportunity, maybe as you know, to be in 9 of our schools every week delivering some food. And I always talk to parents in and out when I'm walking in and out. I've been doing that for a while now, and I've probably talked to 100 parents. And of the 100 parents I've talked to, 99 of them say, great school, love it. So that gives you some room for improvement, Dr. Weissong. There's 1% out there you still haven't gotten to. But especially for the teachers and anybody else who's listening to this in the school system, that's just 99%, that's great. And smiles on their face, love the school, and so that's really good. As far as busing, that's a different story, right? But we're working on that, I know. But the teachers and the schools and the principals and everything, they really, the parents generally are really pleased, so that's good. On my safety comment that I like to make, unfortunately, you know, we are still dealing with some security issues in our school tied to some of the things I talked about last week in the sheriff and making sure that we lock our cars at night and stuff like that. So I just want to reiterate that. You know, hopefully anybody that's watching this, not that thousands of people watch it, but any teachers, you know, passing along that message to our students, and hopefully they'll take it home to the parents, that it really is a problem in our county. Things that are found in cars at night that are outside and that are unlocked, and both the chief of police in Bradenton, I'm sure, as well as the sheriff in Manatee County say that that's something we could all work on. So that's my safety tip for the week, and those were all my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Foreman.
Thank you. Yeah, last meeting I attended virtually because I was in Savannah attending a cybersecurity conference, which I just want to let you all know, you know, a couple things out of it. It was a very interesting and enlightening event. This was nationwide. They had representatives from the federal government as well as different state Department of Education, and a lot of techies were there, the IT guys, which they're an interesting group. But in my conversations, we were the only people that had executive leadership there, other than the technology leadership. And they, you know, I got a lot of, we got a lot of compliments about having involvement of a board, and they were hoping that eventually superintendents would find their way there, because cybersecurity is not just a tech issue. It is a issue that affects and involves the entire district and all departments. and they gave all kinds of situations where cameras get, and, you know, get access, where HVAC systems are impacted. And they were talking about doing tabletop exercises, and that really it should be 2 tabletop exercises, one of leaders, which I've also talked with our cybersecurity person about trying to set up for us. But one is, you know, what happens? What do you mean we can't make payroll this month? You know, and what is the plan then if they get into the ERP system? And then the second one is, what do you mean we can't open the schools? And that could, because we could be impacted with our badges, you know, and swiping doors to get in. HVAC, if you don't have air conditioning in schools, you don't want to be there. You know, not let alone all of the technology in the schools, you know, the phones, the smart boards. So it's really significant, and you know, I was just really impressed with that. The one big thing I got walking away from it, and some states are way ahead of us on this, is that artificial intelligence, it's here, it exists, it's used for good, it's used for bad, and so school districts are developing policies on how to put guardrails around it. And I think that is something that we need to start looking at. So, and then from there I went to Tallahassee, and for the Greater Consortium School Boards, and spent Valentine's Day dinner with my friends there, and there were a lot of legislators there. I have to say that involvement with legislators was significantly higher than going during the FSBA week or days, and they were, and it's late in the session, and things still haven't been voted on, and so they were pretty open about what's likely to happen, not only this year but next year. So I've got lots of gossip, but I'm not going to share it here. But if you all want to, you know, a lot of it is gossip. But we did present and talk about our priorities, and that is funding. Pre-K was one, and maintaining our local control in school-related issues, and so it was productive. It was good. And then when I got back, we had the awards for STEM, the students who had done their projects that we saw at MTC. They had the finalists there, and Chairman Choate's daughter won an award, and it was just a fun evening, because these kids, they're really excited with what they're doing, and their parents are so proud they were there. So it was a very nice evening. And then thank you, Dr. Weissong, for letting me tag along today at Seabreeze. It was I always learn so much when I go and I listen to your conversations. You know, with it's amazing what you learn when you don't open your mouth. Just sit back and listen. You know, so it's something I still haven't learned how to do, but I thank you, and it was a good meeting. So thank you.
Absolutely, Ms. Messenger.
I don't have much other than I'm jazzed.
All right.
That you're jazzed.
All right. Good.
About pre-K and early learning.
Good.
It just made me jazzed
All right.
to hear, because it's been like, it's one of the things that I ran on in 2016 is growth of pre-K, because as a kindergarten teacher, man, did I see the value in it, and I didn't even need the data, but I love that we have the data. And you say, oh man, we have 110 classrooms and I want more, and I'm like, we only had 25 in 2016. So I look at that and go, wow, I can't believe we're up to 110. But I'm jazzed
Okay, good.
because
Say that word anymore.
I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it today. I'll never say it again, but I'm saying it today because it's the word of the day.
That's right, word of the day.
Let this day end.
I'm just, you have a couple more hours to be jazzed, Mary. Just hold on. I just wanted to share that I agree that the board has made it clear that that's one of our focuses. And I think our highest priority, it's always been mine. And I've seen it come so far, and I just want to see it continue. And I just appreciate how jazzed you are about it. That's it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for being jazzed along with Mr. Tatum.
Always.
Ms. Spray, are you jazzed?
Please no.
I just need to pass.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you to the staff for, we go through these pretty quick in the consent items, but it takes weeks, sometimes months for things to get on those items. So we don't see all that work. We just sit here and say consent items, approve, check, and it moves forward. So thank you to the staff, everybody. I mean, I know y'all are out there watching. But Dr. Weissong, please relay that, and everybody else, please relay that to the staff. Books for kids, Rotary, we talked about that a little bit in the presentation. That was last week. It was great. The STEM was great. What I loved is the middle school kids, and I think it was a lot of Mona Jane, but how excited they were for each other. Yeah. Like, it wasn't just them. It was like high-fiving the whole way through. It was great. And so, that goes back to what we're doing with the referendum and the millage, and where that money goes, it goes to them. So, other than that, tomorrow we've got the Manatee Education Foundation. So at the Pirates. So good luck with the first pitch for Dr. Weissong. Hopefully you warmed up and you're good to go. If not, we'll all be there, and I'm gonna videotape it. So just it's FYI. Maybe in the workshop we'll play. We'll see if we can play Dr. Weissong's pitch. But no, good luck tomorrow. That'll be a fun time. And
One more thing.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we thanked Ms. Domicolo and Ms. Cox, Laura, and Danielle. Meetings always typically go great, all works, and they just sit over there and do their thing. But every once in a while they need to be recognized. So today's the day. So
yeah.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Good.
We're jazzed.
Yeah, we're jazzed. We're to have you here. So.
All right, we're jazzed. The meeting is over.
Did I hear that Dr. Weissong's also singing the national anthem tomorrow?
Oh,
that's definitely not.
Is that an added bonus? Is that added bonus? With a jazz ensemble around you?
The opening pitch is going to be bad enough, Chairman.
All right. We'll see y'all Friday. We're adjourned.